The hospital pulsed like a living heart tonight. Monitors chimed in, overlapping rhythms. Shoes squeaked against polished floors. Clipboards traded hands like batons. Patricia moved through it all with steady grace. A junior nurse froze at a doorway. "Breathe," Patricia whispered, guiding her in. Checklist, vitals.com voice, gentle eyes. Responsibility sat on Patricia's shoulders. Firm, she carried it the way some carry hope. A family asked for news. Faces tight with fear. Patricia found the doctor and returned with clarity. "Here is what we're doing," she said softly. They nodded, anchoring themselves to her words. In stormy halls, her courage felt like a lighthouse. Hours folded into a single long thread. Coffee cooled beside untouched charts. The clock blinked with quiet insistence. Finally, the shift handed itself to morning. Patricia stepped outside into the humid Miami dark. Home greeted her with stillness and shadows. A chair pushed back from the table, waiting. The refrigerator hummed like distant surf. She set one plate out of old habit. Silence sat across from her, unblinking. She ate slowly, microwaved pasta and memories. Steam drifted up, then disappeared into the air. Who am I when no one needs me? The question hovered, gentle but heavy. It lingered like a soft, persistent bell. She rinsed the plate and paused at the pantry. A battered shoebox caught her eye. Old laces, a faded school track ribbon. She smiled, surprised by the small spark. Tomorrow, she would walk after work. Morning light painted the blinds in gold. Patricia sat on the edge of the bed, listening. The house breathed, slow and even. Miami birds stitched song into the quiet. She laced sneakers with careful fingers. A memory opened like a gym door. Teenage Patricia, hair in a tight ponytail. The track was hot, the sky loud with summer. She chased a friend around the curve. Laughter kept time with her feet. Back in the present, she tested her knees. Gentle stretches along the hallway wall. Ankles rolled, calves lengthened, breath timed. Her body answered with small creaks. Still, a whisper said, "There is time." She stepped outside into a warm breeze. Sidewalks glimmered from last night's rain. 1 block, then 2, then 3. She let the rhythm find her. Walk and turned the mind like a key dot at the corner. She tried a shy jog, 10 slow steps, then walk again. Her pulse rose, then settled. Curious, she laughed. A quiet, breathy sound. New beginnings often start like this. Back home, she circled a date on the calendar. Walk, she wrote, small but certain. Hope looked like blue ink today. She set out scrubs for the evening shift. Purpose flickered beneath the fabric. As dusk approached, the hospital called. She answered because that is who she is. But something else had begun answering too. A soft drumbeat under everyday noise. Tomorrow, she would add another block. The ward felt gentler in the afternoon light. Patricia checked a chart and adjusted a pillow. "Thank you," the patient said, voice warm. He watched the window like it held a horizon. "Do you run?" he asked out of nowhere. She blinked, a little amused. "Not really," she said, then paused. "I used to, a long time ago." He smiled, eyes crinkling with courage. "I started after everything changed," he said. He told her about short walks first, about breath like a friend you relearn, about small steps that stitched days together. "Running gave me a language for hope," he said. "Some miles are inside you before your feet move." Patricia felt something open, easy, and bright. The room seemed larger, like fresh air. She heard her own heartbeat steady. Resilience sat beside the bed, nodding. Purpose tugged softly at her sleeve. A call light chimed down the hall. Duty pulled her forward as always. But she carried his words like a note, folded and warm in the pocket of her mind. New beginnings whispered, "Try again." On break, she stepped outside alone. The sky was a soft watercolor of clouds. She timed 1 minute on her watch. Jog, breathe, walk, smile, repeat. A tiny loop of courage was born. That night, the kitchen felt different. She wrote, "Run, walk, 1-minute sets." The plan fit on a sticky note. Resilience doesn't need grand gestures. It needs one honest promise kept. The next evening, she met the sidewalk. Shoes double knotted, shoulders relaxed, chin steady. A timer buzzed on her wrist softly. "Run 1, walk 1, breathe always." She pressed start and began. Her legs protested in small, polite ways. Knees asked questions she could not answer. Ankles negotiated each crack in the pavement. Breath moved like a hesitant accordion. Still, the rhythm found her feet. A neighbor waved from a driveway. "You got this," he called, Easy. She lifted a hand, surprised and grateful. Support can be that simple sometimes. A single sentence, a shared street dot by the third set. Patience was the coach. She loosened her shoulders and exhaled longer. Counting breaths, steadied the mind. Body and hope learned handshake. Progress walked beside her, smiling. The final interval felt almost like flying. Not speed, but soft certainty. She ended with a slow cool down, heat lifting from her skin gently. The timer chimed like a tiny bell. Back home, water tasted like victory. She stretched while the kettle sang. A notebook waited on the counter. Day 1 complete. She wrote carefully. Courage looked neat in pencil lines. She stuck the note on the fridge, a small banner for a private parade. The road ahead stayed long and unknown, but she had stepped onto it. Tomorrow, she would show up again. The hospital week pressed down like humidity. Back-to-back shifts blurred into one long hallway. Coffee could only do so much. Patricia felt fatigue settle in layers. Still, the plan waited on the fridge. She bargained with herself after work. Just 15 minutes, she promised softly. Shoes on, door locked. Street breathing. Run 1, walk 1, faithful rhythm. Discipline, not motivation, led today. A drizzle cooled the Miami air. Puddles mirrored small squares of sky. She stepped light, mindful, present. Each interval stitched another thread. Resilience hummed beneath the rain. Midweek, doubt knocked like a neighbor. This is silly, it whispered gently. You are busy, you are tired. She answered with steady hope spoke louder in 5-minute chapters. By Friday, 3 sessions were done. Her watch showed tiny milestones. Longest streak, 3 days this week. Longest interval, 90 seconds, continuous. Small numbers, big meaning, clear heart. In the break room, a colleague noticed. New routine, he asked, kindly, curious. Patricia smiled, shy but bright. I'm learning to run again. He nodded. Tell me how it goes. She walked home under soft streetlights. Air smelled like wet grass and possibility. She placed tomorrow's scrubs on a chair, set an early alarm without fear. Next week, she would add 1 more minute. In the staff lounge, Patricia stretched her calves. A colleague, Marcus, leaned against the counter. Running? He asked, noticing her shoes. She laughed softly, trying to at least. He nodded, understanding in his eyes. Marcus shared stories of his weekend runs, not marathons, just 5 or 10 kilometers. How do you start? She asked earnestly. Patience, he said, sipping his coffee. Show up and let the miles come. He offered simple advice. No jargon, alternate days, stretch after, hydrate well. Don't compare yourself to anyone, he added. That's how you'll keep going. His words felt like a compass. That night, Patricia adjusted her plan. She added rest days with purpose. Her body thanked her with calmer muscles. The fridge note multiplied into pages. Progress looked like steady handwriting now. On her next run, she tried new pacing. Shorter strides, easier breathing, lighter shoulders. Marcus's words echoed like steady drums. The sidewalk stretched friendlier this time. She finished, stronger than before. Walking home, she replayed the shift. She'd comforted a family, trained a new nurse, and still found strength for herself. Balance didn't feel impossible anymore. Hope walked beside her into the night. By the kitchen window, she paused. Miami's skyline shimmered in the distance. Maybe, she whispered, almost surprised, I can really do this. Tomorrow, another run awaited her. Sunday morning greeted her with soft light. The streets were quiet, dew still fresh. Patricia tied her laces firmly. Today she aimed for 3 kilometers. The number felt bold in her mind. She started slow, letting rhythm unfold. Breath synced with footsteps like music, block after block. She counted distance. Halfway, her legs ached, but endured. Determination held her upright and steady. At 2 kilometers, doubt whispered again, you're too old, too late, too slow. She lifted her chin in defiance. Watch me, she murmured to herself. Resilience answered through her stride. Crossing the 3-kilometer mark, she smiled. Sweat traced lines across her face, but joy filled her chest, expanding wide. The impossible now had edges she could touch. Courage tasted like morning air. Back home, she logged the distance. She wrote, 3K nonstop, I did it. Her handwriting trembled with pride. The page looked brighter than the kitchen light. Her reflection in the window smiled back. Later at the hospital, Marcus asked, how was it? She grinned quietly. 3 kilometers, without stopping. He raised his eyebrows, impressed. You're building something strong, Patricia. That night, she lay in bed, muscles hummed with tired satisfaction. Sleep came quickly, deep and kind. Her last thought, what comes next? The answer waited in the calendar. The next week, aches knocked louder. Her shins tightened. Her knees complained. Each step carried small sparks of pain. Patricia slowed, breathing through discomfort. Fear of injury hovered over her. She researched late into the night, stretching routines, recovery techniques, gentle yoga. The internet became a quiet mentor. Every runner faced these battles. She learned resilience meant listening, not forcing. At the hospital, Marcus noticed her limp. Rest, he advised, tone firm but kind. One skipped run is smarter than 10 lost. She nodded, reluctant but grateful. Wisdom often sounds like patience, so she paused, icing sore shins. She read books between longer stretches. Journaling filled the silence of evenings. Her body healed in quiet gratitude. Hope waited, patient at the door. By Friday, she tested short steps, slow, careful, with watchful attention. Pain had softened into faint echoes. Confidence began to return. She smiled, cautious but proud. She adjusted her plan again. Shorter runs, more walking intervals. Progress could bend, not break. Flexibility felt like resilience's secret twin. Purpose still guided each choice. That weekend, she tried 2 kilometers. Gentle, steady, almost playful again. The fear began to loosen. She whispered, I'm not done yet. The road answered with quiet welcome. The city buzzed with weekend energy. A local 5K filled the streets. Banners waved, shoes shuffled, laughter echoed. Patricia stood among strangers, nervous. Her bib number trembled in her hand. The starting horn blasted sharp and bright. Crowds surged forward, waves of color. She followed slowly, finding her pace. Every step hummed with disbelief. She was here, truly running. At 1 kilometer, doubts pressed in. Too fast, too slow, too late. But cheers along the road lifted her. Children clapped. Volunteers offered smiles. Encouragement carried her farther than breath. By 3 kilometers, her legs burned. Her lungs ached with each inhale. She nearly slowed to a walk. Then she remembered the patient's words. Some miles are inside you already. The finish line appeared like sunrise. Banners, music, people shouting names. Patricia's eyes filled with sudden tears. She crossed, arms lifted high. Joy thundered louder than exhaustion. Metal pressed cool against her chest. She held it like fragile treasure. This was not just a race. It was proof of resilience reborn, a symbol of new beginnings. At home, she placed it by the fridge. Beside the notes, the metal shone. Tomorrow's training looked less daunting now. She was no longer just trying. She was becoming a runner. Hospital demands returned with full force. Shift after shift blurred into fatigue. Patricia balanced charts and patient care. Her body begged for rest. Still, her shoes waited by the door. She wrestled with the calendar often. Run or sleep, work or train. Some nights, exhaustion won. Other nights, discipline whispered louder. Balance became her quiet battlefield. On breaks, she stretched behind the desk. Colleagues teased gently, but with admiration. Training for something bigger, one asked. She hesitated, then admitted softly, a marathon. Someday. The word felt enormous in her mouth, but saying it made it real. It pulsed like a heartbeat in her chest. Her secret goal was no longer silent. Hope had spoken out loud. Some days, rain canceled outdoor plans. She jogged in hospital stairwells instead. Each step up echoed determination. Improvisation became her ally. Resilience wore many faces now. By the week's end, progress remained. Longer runs, steadier breathing, calmer mind. Even on tired legs, she showed up. Consistency was her greatest ally. Purpose carried her mile by mile. As she logged her training notes, she paused. Someday, she whispered to herself again. The word glowed brighter than before. The marathon no longer felt impossible. It felt like a promise waiting. Patricia stood at the park entrance. Her watch glowed with a bold plan. 10 kilometers, the farthest yet. She inhaled the morning air slowly. Hope tasted like salt and sunlight. The first kilometers felt steady, calm. Birds scattered as her steps echoed. Her body moved with surprising ease. Rhythm carried her like a song. Confidence bloomed in her chest. By 7 kilometers, fatigue whispered. Her legs felt like heavy ropes. Doubt tugged at her resolve. You can stop, the voice said. She shook her head, kept moving. Memories returned with every step. Teenage laughter on a school track, the patient's words at his bedside, Marcus's encouragement in the lounge. All voices ran beside her now. But the last kilometer stretched endlessly. Every breath scraped against her ribs, yet determination burned brighter than pain. She crossed the 10-kilometer mark. Tears blurred the watch screen. At home, she collapsed into a chair. Sweat cooled, muscles hummed in protest, but joy thundered louder than fatigue. She wrote, "One, okay. I belong here." The words shone on the page. Later, she placed the notebook down. The medal still hung by the fridge. Both symbols spoke the same truth. Resilience was growing, strong and steady. The marathon no longer seemed distant. Training grew harder with distance. 15 kilometers, then 18, then 20. Her body fought each step fiercely. Fatigue built a wall around her. She met it head-on, unprepared. At mile 15, the wall appeared. Legs locked, breath shattered, hope dimmed. She bent over, hands on knees. The sidewalk tilted beneath her feet. Quitting felt dangerously close. She slowed to a stubborn walk. Each step dragged against her will. Why am I doing this? She thought. The question ached heavier than pain. Doubt gnawed at her spirit. But then, a memory surfaced. The patient's eyes, alive with gratitude. Some miles are inside you already. The words pulsed like a drum. She straightened, breathing deeper. One block, then another, then more. Pain dulled. Rhythm returned in fragments. She did not run fast, but she moved forward, unbroken. Resilience rejoined her stride. At home, she collapsed on the couch. Tears came, hot and unexpected. But alongside them came pride. The wall had not won. She had climbed through it. She wrote in her journal carefully, "Today hurt, but I kept going." Each word steadied her heartbeat. Resilience etched itself onto the page. Tomorrow, she would try again. The marathon morning arrived at last. Miami streets buzzed with electric energy. Banners stretched, shoes tightened, hearts pounded. Patricia stood among thousands of strangers. Her bib number fluttered in the breeze. She scanned the crowd nervously. People stretched, laughed, adjusted watches. She pressed her hand over her chest. Her heart beat fast but steady. Hope throbbed beneath her palm. The announcer's voice boomed overhead. Runners surged toward the starting mats. Patricia inhaled deeply, steadying her breath. This was it, her moment. Courage wrapped around her shoulders. The horn sounded sharp and loud. The crowd moved like a river. She followed, step by step, not fast, not slow, steady. Her journey had begun. The first miles flowed easily. Adrenaline softened every ache. Spectators clapped. Music played. She smiled at children waving signs. The city carried her forward. By mile 10, she found rhythm. Her breath matched the beating drums. The ocean shimmered beside the road. Miami sun kissed her skin. Purpose filled every stride. She whispered to herself softly, "You belong here, Patricia." The words steadied her soul. The marathon stretched ahead like destiny. She was ready for the miles. At mile 22, everything changed. Her legs screamed with every step. Breath fractured into uneven pieces. The famous wall loomed, unyielding. Patricia nearly faltered, eyes blurring. The crowd thinned at this stretch. Silence pressed heavy on her shoulders. Even the sun felt harsher now. She longed to stop, to rest. Quitting whispered, sweet and tempting. But then memory struck like lightning. The patient's face, shining with resilience. Marcus's encouragement, steady and sure. Her children's laughter from long ago. Every voice urged her forward. She slowed but did not stop. Arms pumped, feet dragged, heart burned. Tears streaked through salt and sweat. Her body begged for surrender. Her spirit refused the offer. At mile 24, rhythm returned. Pain dulled into background noise. Her eyes locked on the horizon. The finish line was near. Courage fueled each final step. Spectators cheered louder now. Banners flapped in the ocean wind. A stranger shouted her name aloud. "Go, Patricia, go," they cried. Her chest swelled with fire. 2 miles left. Impossible, yet possible. Every muscle quivered with effort. But hope led her forward. She whispered, "Almost there." Resilience carried her onward. The finish line glowed in the distance. Crowds roared. Music lifted high. Patricia's vision blurred with tears. Her body trembled. Heart surged. She was so close now. Her final steps felt eternal. Every second stretched into memory. She crossed the line at last. Arms raised, face streaked with joy. The crowd thundered around her. A medal hung cool on her neck. She clutched it with trembling fingers. Not gold, not silver, something greater. It was proof of her rebirth. Hope gleamed against her skin. She sank to a bench nearby. Exhaustion crashed over her body, but pride held her upright still. Tears flowed, unstoppable and cleansing. She whispered, "I did it." Later, at home, silence felt different. Not empty, but full of meaning. The medal shone beside the fridge. Her notes told the whole journey. Resilience had filled the quiet. She opened her journal once more. The final page waited patiently. She wrote, "For 2K I became me." The words glowed brighter than ink. Purpose lived between every letter. That night, she slept deeply. Dreams carried her through open roads. Tomorrow would bring new beginnings. Not an ending, but a doorway. Life itself had transformed.